Welcome back to Pips-N-Chits. Today I will be unboxing the 2017 release of Legacy of Dragonholt, published by Fantasy Flight Games and designed by lead designer Nikki Valens. And this game really isn't a board game in the traditional sense, but it's more like a cross between a choose-your-own-adventure and a Dungeons & Dragons RPG story that takes place over 6 unique quests. Each quest has its own unique book associated with it with inside the box, and it really isn't about winning or losing a specific scenario or the campaign, but more or less the ride or the rich story experience your characters are going to kind of go through. It takes place in the realms of Terranoth universe, or more specifically the Runebound universe, which Fantasy Flight Games kind of originated way back in 1998 with Battle Mist. And so over like the last 20 years or so, they have about 13 or so titles that all take place here. Quite honestly, I don't know anything about the Terranoth or the Runebound universe. This will be my very first experience with it altogether. So if you want to read more about it, there's a lot of fan-made wiki pages out there and fan sites that you can really dive deep into the lore and canon there. Although it's listed for upwards of 6 cooperative players, everything that I've come across online really says it shines for the solo player. You can play 2 or 3 players as well, but after that, the board game geek community says it kind of really slows down for players, as you know, whoever the lead player is during their turn, they make the decisions for the whole group. And when you get multiple people in there, that means that until your turn comes around to become the lead player, you're just kind of sitting there waiting for things to happen and kind of going along for the ride. And I've come across situations where people said that they're rereading some of the same passages over and over again. So I would really say it's really for a 1 to 2 player experience, but for me, it's going to be about that 1 player experience altogether. I like to think of it as more as for that one person that wants that D&D like experience, but really can't muster up a dungeon master or a group of friends when the mood strikes. Currently on Board Game Geek, after 3 years, it's rated at a 7.4, which is moderately high, and it has a weight of 1.2 out of 5, which really isn't that complex, and I assume that's because there really isn't any dice chucking. You're not going to be looking at tables. There's not a lot of reference books. You're not going to be getting out a tape measure and measuring how far miniatures are away from other things. Like I said, it's more like a very advanced choose your own adventure style book. So you're not going to be looking up rules references and doing skill checks and whatnot. The skill checks in here, from what I understand, are relatively rudimentary. You either have a skill or you don't have a skill. And along the way, as you gain experience, you can improve those skills, or maybe in between scenarios, you can gain new skills. But it's not like you're going to be rolling dice and doing a check for that. You're going to be making decisions based on how situations are presented to you, and what your skills are, like I said earlier, that you start throughout the quest. Future story elements will unlock along the way based on things that you might have dealt with or didn't deal with prior to, or things that you've yet to discover. So why did I pick this up? Well, admittedly, probably the number one reason, it was finally on sale. It has a MSRP of about $60. You can find it on a lot of game sites for about $49.95. I was lucky enough to pick it up for just under $35. So after shipping and taxes, I paid under $40 for this game that came way out in 2017. I also got it for the solo experience myself. I don't really have a lot of experience with Dungeons and Dragons, but I really wanted that solo experience, kind of that something that reminisced me about the old choose your own adventure stories. And from the production of this looks pretty darn good. I like the fact that the character creation it seems to be really deep. There's a whole booklet in here apparently on just character creation and all the different skills and the classes you can be. And, that's something that I would like to do, and I don't need that with two or three other people. And finally, the start and save mechanics. From what I understand, you can pretty much crack this open, dive right into where you left off without having to set up maps and, get the dice and again, the reference books and all that. And let's say you play for 10 minutes or a half hour and you have to leave. It's a relatively easy cleanup. You just write down a couple things on a save sheet and you can walk away and pick back up right where you left off. So that's one of the reasons why I picked this up. But anyway, enough of all that. Let's go ahead and turn this over and read a little bit more about it. Sorry about the glare here. The contents, I'll just read really quickly. One rule book, one character creation book, 6 quest books, one village book, one letter. I don't know what the village book or the letter is. A map, a journal, 20 item cards, 6 activation tokens. I imagine that's a 1 activation token per character, up to 6 players, and 6 character sheets. It says for ages 14 and up, 1 to 6 players, but kind of like what I said already earlier, I think you don't want to play this with more than 2 people. So with that, let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. Let's get the cellophane off. Anyway, it's a very nice cover. I like the painting here on here. And and for 2017, it's too bad. I wish they would come with some expansions, or maybe there was something more about this, but I really don't know if there's going to be. It seems like this was a one and done. You would think after 3 years, if they were going to do something additionally with this, we would have heard about it by now, but we haven't. Anyway, here's a Fantasy Flight Games catalog. Probably dating back to 2017, 2018. All we have is material in here. Unlike so many other Fantasy Flight games, there's no trench insert here. We have a bag of looks like these are probably our item cards. So let's go ahead. Boy, these are large size. They're almost like, what do you call those, tarot card size items. So very nice. They have letters on them. I'm not quite sure what those letters are, but letters of the alphabet. I don't want to spoil too much, but we have a healing potion letter. We'll just go through. I kind of like the artwork here. This kind of like hand stenciled or, kind of what is it, sketch-like work. I imagine these are the 20 item cards. And let's see. Next, we have a bag of, I imagine these are our activation tokens. They look like they're two-sided. Thick cardboard. We have, looks like a rune on one side. Oops, I almost poked that one out. A rune on one side, and kind of a muted, the same artwork on the other side, but muted. So I imagine one, you're ready to make an activation, and one once you're already done with your activation, just to indicate whose turn it is or who did what. So anyway, we have a rule book next. It says read this first. Maybe a quick start guide. It's 5, 6, 7, about 7 pages, and we have a story tracking sheet on the back. There's a lot of story points and notes. I'm sure that you can probably make photocopies of this, or probably go to Board Game Geek and download files. We have our heroes telling, I guess, who's in the campaign. We have a thing for fame, gold up there. Let's move on. We have our character creation book. Very nice cover art on that one. Let's see, how many pages is this? 19 pages, and we have different classes, really nice artwork in here. Talks about the different classes we can be. Choosing a race, we have humans and orcs and dwarves, elves, gnomes, cat folk. And then starting on page 9, we have choose a class. Some of the traditional ones, like a bard, we have apothecary, a brawler, a knight, a sage. I don't know what a sage is. a wildlander, a thief, and then describe yourself. You want to give yourself a physical description that really gets you into the feel for the game there, I guess. Let's moving on. We have our character sheets, 6 of them, pretty much single-sided. Pretty simplistic, doesn't look like there's a lot to it other than we have some skills, experience, stamina, items, something again I'm sure you could just photocopy or download from Board Game Geek or right from Fantasy Flight Games. We have 2 new roads. I imagine this is a storybook in itself. It says 50 to 80 minutes approximate playing time. That's kind of nice. It has something there. I don't want to reveal anything, but this is basically one of the stories. And looks like a letter that's sealed. Please refer to my first letter. So it's I don't want to open that up. We have, wow, this one's a big one. This is Dragonholt Village. Approximate playtime 30 to 50 minutes per chapter. Wow, that is a thick book. And there is a lot of pages. Not a lot of artwork in here, but again, this is probably looks like more the choose your own adventure type thing here. We have a map of Dragonholt, which I'll get to in a minute. We have Sonia's journal. Looks like a little handwritten journal. I won't read anything because I don't want to spoil it for myself. We have 5 additional books here. So that first book, 2 New Roads, must have been the first chapter. Here are the other ones. We have Sliver of Silver, 50 to 80 minutes. Crypt of Carthun, 50 to 80 minutes. Whispering Leaves, also 50 to 80 minutes. Terror on the Prairie, 50 to 80 minutes. And then finally, Paper Faces, 75 to 120 minutes. I'm just going to peek in one, probably one of the later ones, see if there's any artwork. No, it looks like just more choose your own adventure type things in here. But those are those 5, the remaining 5. And lastly, let's just push out the map. Let's see what the map is all about here. So the map, there's nothing on one side here. That's the back side of it. Although it does say map of Dragonholt. I don't know if you draw things in later, but we have, looks like a city here. And we have some places, pretty nice drawing. Eastern Road, Fairfax Manor. There's numbers associated with it. I imagine these are entries within the large book. We have our bakery, our apothecary shop, our guard station, our smithy, a willow grove, dragon statues. Really nice. At least you get a sense of where you might be during the adventure. But other than that, there's not much here other than kind of a nice drawing. So with that, that's all within the box. As you saw, there's no dice, no standees, no pen or pencil. Everything is up to you to supply. So I hope you enjoyed that. Again, hopefully after I play a couple of sessions, maybe I can do a review on it or I'll let you know how my adventure went. But anyway, this is Jason for Pips-N-Chits, and this was the unboxing of Legacy of Dragonholt. If you like this video, go ahead and hit subscribe there in the lower right hand corner and go ahead and check out some of my other videos. And go ahead, feel free to leave me a comment or message, and we'll get back to you soon. Have a great day.